Can we end 2023 with a home win, the final home win of the year against Crystal Palace? We've been asking a lot of questions of our team recently. The defeat against Wolves was very sobering, and I felt like the questions we've been asking did get answered in that game. We are a team that lacks experience to control games. We lack maturity in games to handle events going against us. We lack the finishing capabilities and composure, and injury luck is just not with us whatsoever. But even though the result was bad, I really feel like we cannot forget the opening 30 minutes of that game, because for me, if we want to beat Crystal Palace tomorrow evening, we must turn towards how we approach the game against Wolves, because we did things right in that game. Now, we posed tons of issues against that Wolves back line. We posed many questions to Wolves. We were very vertical, very quick. We ran in behind their lines. We had two strikers that was occupying their defence, and we made things happen. We did enough within 30 minutes to at least take the lead, and if we do so, we end the game with a favourable result. Consider the fact that we didn't take the lead due to poor decision making in the final thirds, not connecting with crosses or assists, missing opportunities, poor striking technique. The usual suspects that end up costing us results in games. But if we convert any of those opportunities, I really feel like we win that game against Wolves, because we did things the right way before things went against us and our heads fell down. I think we'll see an attacking lineup against Crystal Palace tomorrow. I think there's nothing left to lose. We don't even have many players available in the team right now. And I just feel like we're a team that must score first at all costs, because if we get the first goal, it helps our team out even more. It helps us even more. And to be honest with you, statistically, if there was one team you wanted to play against right now after losing against Wolves, it might have to be Crystal Palace, because we're unbeaten against them in the past 6 games. We are unbeaten against them in the past 6 home games. And the last time we lost to Crystal Palace was back in 2017 in a 2-1 loss. We've scored 15 goals, conceded once in the past 6 games. We have an incredible record against Crystal Palace. Of course, we have to respect their talents. Of course, Olise, Eze, 2 guys that should be playing at a higher level. Of course, Guy, Anderson, you can say the same things for them as well too. They have the individual talents to hurt us right now, and they'll feel pretty confident knowing that they've played really well against the big clubs. Drawing 1-1 against West Ham, drawing 2-2 against Man City, coming back from 2 goals behind. Of course, losing 2-1 to Liverpool with a man sent off, and of course as well, drawing against Brighton in one of their local derbies. So we have to be wary of their threats. But all I'm saying is, statistically, if you were to bet money on a result tomorrow night, you'd probably pick us irrespective of form right now. So, of course, injuries, suspensions, they're piling on. But the question is, can we finally win the final home game of 2023? Today, my friends, let's break down Pochettino's press conference. And I'll go through predicted lineups as well. So I hope you guys enjoy. Hit that like button if you think we can get the final win of 2023, and hit the like button if you guys had a great Christmas holidays as well too. So without wasting any more time, we go straight into dissecting the press conference, and I'll go through the key major talking points from the press conference. The first one being the lack of discipline within our team, because this season we have 56 bookings, 3 red cards. Our manager's even been sent off the touchline as well too. Naturally, Pochettino was going to be asked, how do you feel about this? And is this a concern of the club right now? And Poch said in a very unfazed manner, he's not really fussed because the bookings show our willingness to compete. And that's essentially what it boiled down to. He said, when you're frustrated, when you don't have the experience maybe of other teams, you're going to make these mistakes. So I'll ask you guys this. Is this a fair analysis and take from Poch? Share your thoughts and opinions. I'll give my take on this. And to be honest, I'm probably going to have to agree with him, because here's how I see things here. It's all about picking the lesser of 2 evils. We know this team's inexperienced. We've been saying this throughout the season. We know these mistakes will come. For me, the lesser of 2 evils boils down to this. I'd rather we keep that competitiveness, knowing that we can work on controlling our discipline as time goes on. Compared to it being the other way round, where Poch criticises the team for the lack of discipline, that these guys go into games, a bit confused, not really knowing if they should commit or not. I don't want any confusion right now. It's all about improving things over time. And I do like our competitive spirit. We win a lot of tackles. We do some good things right. Like when we play football, 65% of what we do on the field is correct. If you had a scoreboard, you're taking things off. Yes. It's the 35% which keeps costing us time and time again. Discipline is a result of this as well. But I don't think it's the most serious thing that should be bothering us right now. And I just think that if we lose one of the only small positives we have in this team, then God knows what's going to happen with us. So that's one of the first talking points from the press conference. But to move on, of course, naturally, Poch was asked to give his take on Nkunku's debut. And he was asked what was the best position he sees Nkunku playing in. Obviously, Poch is very happy that Nkunku scored in his debut, even though he was upset. The whole team was disappointed by the result. But, I guess we're hoping, does this mean that Nkunku starts tomorrow? You guys stay tuned for my predicted lineup. But outside of that, Poch was asked about his best position, and he feels like Nkunku is probably a 10 right now. And for me, I always thought personally he would be a 10 based on the fact that his final 2 preseason games was him playing in behind a striker. And as Poch revealed, listen, I want Nkunku being my 10, kind of more to the left side. An era we saw Chukwuemeka playing in at the start of the season. So it makes a lot of sense and supports the ideas that Poch has. So to end with things, of course, Pochettino was asked one of the dire things about our season, and that's injuries. We have been injury FC. It's a shame that it's taken us losing so many games for it, in my opinion, to be like really understood now that yes, injuries have been affecting us throughout. We've had injury issues with this club for like 2-3 years now. It's actually ridiculous. And naturally, Poch is frustrated by things. Obviously, it does kind of kill preparation. A stat reveals that we've had at least 8 players out injured for every game this season, for every match they scored. That is pretty crazy, to be honest with you. And right now, we don't even have a functioning midfield at this point in time. Poch is like, don't get it twisted. Everyone from the medical team to myself, the coaches, we are anticipating any issues that may come that could put players in positions where they might be prone to injury. But, is there an argument that maybe Pochettino's demands are too strenuous on the players? I don't know how you guys feel about that, but in my opinion, I think that's too simple a conclusion. We have to respect, of course, it's the Premier League. You have to fight, compete. These guys need to understand the intensity of this league. That's for certain. At the same time, I feel like a lot of injuries boil down to many answers. Some players signed with injuries. Some players didn't have a pre-season. Some players were already injured beforehand. There's not many things you can do with that. And some players got unfortunate where they got fouled in-game and picked up injuries. So it's not as if everyone has a hamstring and everyone is just like continuously just getting the same thing. It's not that simple. So there you have it, the key talking points from the press conference. Let's now end things with my final thing. And we discuss predicted lineup for the game tomorrow. And my friends, I'm going straight into things. Here's my lineup. As you guys can see, I'm going for a team I think we could play. Nico up front, in behind Mudryk, Nkunku, Madueke, Connor, Caicedo, and in defence, I'm going for Maatsen. I'm going for Gusto. For God's sake, I'm going to go for Baddy, I'm going to go for Cole, I'm going to go for Petrovic. Now, straight away, I have a feeling we may likely not see this, but it's getting to a point right now where it's like, what is the worst that can really happen? Like, realistically, is Silva and Disasi really like our future centre-back duo forever? It seems like they were our centre-back duo out of necessity. Personally, I even feel like Thiago Silva is a lot more assured on the right-hand side. Not that he's bad at all, really, but you see him actually helping the team with his incredible passing range. You don't see that from the left-hand side. In games where we look kind of decent, having that natural left-footed centre-back like Badia Shield's game against Sheffield United. For God's sake, I'd even love to see Coble there again, because how can we forget the dynamic partnership that him and Caicedo had at Brighton? These guys had a phenomenal understanding together in terms of the build-up, and it's just like, we don't take advantage of this because Poch is too scared to use Maatsen, or he's not performing well. I'm sorry. It doesn't make a difference now, Pochettino. Like I said, take inspiration behind how we started this game And I feel like it's time now to really just go for a team that makes sense for everyone on the field right now. You know, 2 fullbacks either side, for God's sake. I want to use my 2 best ball progressive centre-backs in the game where we're most likely going to have over 60 to 65% possession. No more sideways passes where it goes to the fullback out wide and then we get caught on the ball and then we concede goals. Or the thing we end up doing all the time, giving away corners. These same corners that bite us in the arse. We gave over like 10, 11 corners against Wolverhampton Wanderers. Is it any surprise they scored a goal against us? Absolutely not. Why? Because we invite too much pressure out wide. You know, if you have your centre-backs that you can rely upon to play balls over the top, play those 70-yard switch balls. Use them. Use them instead of inviting pressure for no reason sometimes. So, listen, that's my reasoning behind why. You guys don't have to agree with me, but that's my defense I'm going for. Midfield, the fact that Pochettino is saying that Caicedo in the press conference, he's maybe starting to feel a little bit better now. He's going to be touch and go, of course. He'll be training today and tomorrow. You know, hopefully he will be back most likely, because if not, it has to be Matos in midfield, right? But I'd imagine that Pochettino is very reluctant on starting him right now. Maybe he might be a sub in the game. Who knows? We don't really see Poch using the young guys at moments like this. But I'd imagine that Poch will do everything in his power and Caicedo will be injected up to be ready to play against Crystal Palace, even for like 60 minutes, because it's a good balance to have Caicedo a bit deeper and Conor Gallagher a bit more forward. I think we need a midfield, for God's sake. And obviously to end things up front, I have to see Noni on the right hand side and Mudryk on the left hand side. Now, it's a good thing that Sterling's got suspended. Please, after how he messed up the decisive moment of the game, I'm sorry, I'm still a bit annoyed. I'll hold my hands up. Good thing he's suspended. Mudryk, I'm not going to gas this guy too much. He shows promise. He shows exciting things. Do I think that he could be better if he had a left-back support beside him? Like what he had with Mitvienko at Shakhtar Donetsk and what he's kind of had throughout most of his career? I definitely think he would be. I think that would make a big difference, to be fair with you. Because Mudryk, I feel he's in this constant flux where he wants to be the Mudryk he is in the Premier League, whilst balancing the manager's demands. And it does seem like the manager's demands maybe will focus on some of his few attributes that he has. Whereas Mudryk wants to be Mudryk. He wants to cut inside. He wants to play passes in behind. He wants to take shots on goal. And I think, you know, it's going to be maybe at least a year or two for Mudryk to really find that best balance. And I think that's what happens with certain wingers like this, to be fair. So you could help this guy out by giving him a left back. Obviously, Nkunku is my big risk here. Personally, I want him to start off the bench, but because of the injuries we have and the fact that, for God's sake, we have to get some wins, hopefully Nkunku can play at least 50 to 60 minutes max and then take him off straight away. Take him off immediately after that. Even if we're losing, don't risk this guy's injury, because if he's out, it's over. We got nothing left to fight for. But I'm hoping he starts, because I felt like, especially in that first 30 minutes against Wolves, if Nkunku was on that field then, in those moments, I think we have a goal for sure. Those moments we made don't go to waste. And I think with Nkunku, he's a guy that improves the other guys around him, for God's sake. I think him and Nico look promising during pre-season. You know, I'll talk about Nico. I'm a bit frustrated with the criticism against him. I think it's too harsh, for God's sake. It's another guy who's 22 years old here. Another young striker no one's got patience for. It's just like sometimes I don't think people... Because again, most fans, we only watch our club. We don't really see what's happening outside of football. We don't know what to compare things to relatively. And the reality is, there aren't many under 23 strikers who are elite or incredible in big leagues, not the Eredivisie, Bulgarian league or something like that, but in the big leagues who are getting double digits right now. You know, I think Jackson has made a lot of steps very quickly in his career. I think his finishing can improve upon. I think taking the slots early can come. But these are things that aren't going to just happen overnight in 1 or 2 games. We have to be realistic. You know, he still does good things off the ball in his pressing, his link-up play and his dribbling threat. And I do think the manager could maybe help the attacking players a lot more if he can let these guys build more connections. I mean, I saw Son, I saw Kane, Ali forming connections. We haven't seen that this season. Nico, Mudryk, they want to play off each other. They want to play 1-2 passes in behind. We saw that phenomenal example of that against Brighton in pre-season. That's how they want to play. Do they get to play that very often? Absolutely not. You know, and Nkunku could be the key guy that could really gel the attack in that sense. And I'm hoping he is the difference maker here, because I've felt like tactically Pochettino was riding a lot on Nkunku's availability this season. So it is very unfortunate that we've missed. Let's be serious. He is our best player at this football club, without a doubt. And obviously on the right hand side has to be Madueke. And listen, I'm going to say this very simply. Madueke, give him gusto. If I see flipping the sassy right back tomorrow, Poch, man, you're asking to get sacked here. Rumours state he has 5 games to save his job. If you're going to make stupid decisions like you're going to use a centre-back, a right-back tomorrow, yeah, you had it coming. Goodbye, see you later. So my friends, that is my predicted lineup out the way. Share your thoughts and opinions. Of course, watch my news video today. And on that note, I am Nini FC. This is Blue Lions TV. I'll see you guys tomorrow on match day. Cool.